All right, cool. So we'll just move on to our next topic. Again, this is going to be kind of a shorter one, but I'm going to totally butcher his name. But Genyo Takada has retired from Nintendo. He has been like the head of hardware development for a long time. And he moved on to like a fellow position once Mr. Iwata died. And he kind of spearheaded the Wii, spearheaded the Wii U, 3DS, blah, 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 blah. You can just go back through the years on the systems he's had his hand in. And, you know, like way back in the day before he got to this high of a position, you know, he did things like the thumbstick on the N64.
64.
He designed that.
That's crazy.
And the thing is, the thumbstick's actually not that good, to be honest.
Yeah, no.
Remember how much it grinded and broke?
It did.
But again, it worked well before it did.
Yeah.
But still, like, it was like one of the first thumbsticks out there. So, maybe props for that.
Yeah. It was definitely an innovative design.
Yeah. And it feels like a piece of news that, like, people just could talk about it for, like, 2 minutes because, you know, whatever. People recognize the name Takada because he's been in the news a little bit after Iwata died. Because like, he was one of the top figureheads at Nintendo, or was. But it's kind of interesting because he was there for all of Nintendo's successes and all of their failures. He started like 45 years ago, I think is what it said.
Yep.
So he's old. And I think what this brings up to me is that the future of Nintendo, as bright as it is with Switch, is almost in a scary place for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because Takada is like one of the first dominoes of Nintendo's pillars to go down. Kimishima himself is not exactly young. Shigeru Miyamoto is pretty old. Now, Miyamoto is someone I can see who never really truly retires. Because I could see him just being like, look, I don't do anything, but I'm a figurehead.
Yeah, right.
So, like, I just show up at all the conferences and stuff and, like, oh, hey, look, you guys all know me.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, he's pretty old. Even Eiji Aonoma's getting up there. You know, Shikada's getting up there. Just a lot of people at Nintendo are getting old.
Mm-hmm.
And the Switch is a system that was designed by their younger developers. And designed, obviously, in conjunction with NVIDIA. Or NVIDIA, however you want to pronounce it. This kind of makes me sad. Because I feel like this is the first domino to fall in what's going to be the end of the generation of gaming that all of us grew up in with Nintendo.
Great.
And that doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. Because, like, obviously, what they cobbled together as a team with Wii U was wrong. It didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Switch is working, and that's a credit to the younger. So, like, their younger crowd's more in touch with consumers. They're younger developers. They're younger, you know, designers. So, in a way, this, you know, is probably good. Like, the person taking over is Koshi Ota, and all he's done at Nintendo in the past is, well, okay, technically, he's who Nintendo's trying to put in the position. It won't be official until the next shareholders meeting where the shareholders put in votes to vote him into this position. But that's who Nintendo's kind of propping up as, hey, this is the guy we want to replace him. The only hardware he's worked on is the Wii and Wii U. Obviously, the Wii, massive popular hit, torn with gamers on if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but it's undeniable it was popular at least.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the Wii U obviously flopped, so he was there as part of that Wii U team. So it's interesting because nothing I've found listed for him has anything to do with Nintendo Switch. Yet they want to promote him into a power that has to do with overseeing all of hardware and stuff. So it's interesting. I don't know if he has the right experience for it. But again, I'm scared. Mm-hmm. Like, this is the first time, maybe the second time, but I want to say the first time I was worried about Nintendo was when Satoru Iwata passed away. But again, Satoru Iwata was actually relatively young.
Yeah. Compared
to the people we're talking about. Like, he was younger than Takada, younger than Shigeru Miyamoto. I mean, we're talking like 15, 20 years younger. Like he was only like, was he in his 50s, I think?
I don't remember.
Pretty sure he was in his 50s. So, like, he was pretty young. He was taken from us too soon. But this is the first time it's like, okay, the old guard at Nintendo's starting to go away. And I know some people might think that, you know, maybe when the original family that owned Nintendo kind of stepped down and promoted Iwata. Maybe that was the changing of the guard, but not really, because like maybe business decision wise, but still had Miyamoto. Like Miyamoto is Nintendo. Like when Iwata passed away, Miyamoto was one of the guys that was running Nintendo, and instead like he's like the emergency backup plan.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of worried. I'm not worried about the future of Nintendo because it looks bright, but it's just scary to me thinking of this is the first domino to fall in major Nintendo players in the last 40 years retiring. And I think him retiring might make people like Miyamoto and others decide that, like, yeah, we got to...
Time to start thinking about it, at least.
It's time to maybe wrap things up.
Mm-hmm.
And one reason, like, obviously the biggest one I'm scared about is Shigeru Miyamoto when he hangs it up. And, like, Shigeru Miyamoto's last game that he put in time with was Star Fox for the Wii U. And in general, reception wasn't good.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's out of good ideas, but what I do know is that whatever he has going doesn't seem to be connecting with consumers. So I'm just kind of at a loss for words here. Like, first off, Genyo Takada, no, you're never going to see this podcast because you're in Japan, for starters, and we're small time. But I do want to thank you for the things you've done at Nintendo. I mean, when you're heading up hardware, and involved in that aspect of things for 40 years, I mean, that's my childhood,
Yeah, right.
You were doing various things behind the scenes that you usually aren't going to get credit for publicly because it's going to be the game makers, it's going to be the presidents, it's going to be the CEO, it's going to be Reggie, it's going to be even Bill Trennan for us in the United States, the translation team. Like, it's going to be figureheads, and you've always been kind of that person behind the scenes. Like, your name is there in the credits, your name is there on the box, but nobody really talks about you.
Right.
So I don't want to overlook, like, today, when you retire, it's about you. And about your future, and I wish you well, and I hope you have a happy time with your family. I hope that the severance package and retirement plan and everything you have set up is fantastic. I don't know how it can't be. 45 years at one company.
Right.
You got to be pretty well taken care of, I would assume.
You would
by
hope
this
so.
point. And especially in Japan, they're very good with money in Japan. So
yeah,
I'm assuming that he's going to enjoy his retirement. But that kind of gets me to thinking that, like, should I want Shigeru Miyamoto to retire? And other figureheads at Nintendo to retire, not just for selfish reasons, like, oh, your ideas are old, but because it's like, is it time for them just to go enjoy their life? Enjoy what's left.
Yeah.
You got 10, 20 years left on this planet. Go enjoy what you got.
Yeah.
With your family. And I don't know. I mean, do you have any thoughts on this?
Not a whole lot. Yeah, I definitely wish him well as well. And yeah, in a way, I can definitely see your point of, wanting these guys to actually live a life in a way.
Yeah, it's kind of like their life has been built around Nintendo for so long, and they obviously love their jobs. But it's one of those things that, like, how many times have I heard from Shigeru Miyamoto or heard from Eiji Aonuma specifically, because obviously I was running Zelda stuff, how much time they had to spend away from their family, the amount of hours they've been having to put in making these games, running into, like when Iwata died, how much time did Shigeru Miyamoto really get to spend with his family versus having to make sure Nintendo didn't crash. When an emergency, like, I think about that a couple years ago, like, when something like that happens that is not only devastating on a personal level for him and others at Nintendo, but devastating for the whole company, that he was one of the main people to instantly turn to be like, okay, now guide us, fix this. What are we going to do now? We're looking to you. And it's kind of like the kind of pressure that puts on him. And how long can he really be in that kind of, like, oh, he's in a fellow position now, whatever. Well, basically, all that tells me is if Kimishima dies, Shigeru Miyamoto, again, is going to be thrust into, I need to save the company. I need to make sure nothing, everything goes awry. And, as much as he's a diehard Nintendo guy for life, I wonder if he can even do things like retire, but still do media appearances once in a while for promotion. Like, still come to E3 every year.
Right.
Like, still maybe pop up in a commercial, or not even, I guess he doesn't really do commercial, but pop up in Nintendo Direct sometime.
Yeah.
Whatever. But, like, for the most part, he's just retired. He doesn't go in every day. He's done.
Right.
He just...
Right.
You know, I mean, he's mostly in an advisement role as is, but like even just like not being on call for that stuff, just being like, look, just go enjoy being with your family, enjoy your retirement, go on vacation,
sure.
Go do what you want to do. And like if you have a vacation and can't come to E3 in June, like who cares? You're not part of the company now,
right?
And it's tough thinking about it, but the problem is that I'm a consumer, right? So as a consumer, there's a selfish side of me that's like, dude, I don't want you to retire.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Like, keep making awesome games. And you love it, right? Like, why would you quit something you love? But that's because there's other things in life to love, right?
Right.
You know, and I even had to think about that, you know, here, like, you know, I moved on from Zelda Informer, have Nintendo Prime now. Like, do I want to keep doing this? It takes a lot of time with my family. But I'm 30. I'm not 70.
Right.
So it's like, I still have a lot of years left to be spending time with my family, growing up with my kids, spending time with my girlfriend, hopefully my wife one day. Hint, hint, wink, wink. But it's one of those things that you know, it doesn't make me think about retirement personally because I have a long ways to go before I worry about that. But it makes me just think that maybe I need to be more humane about this and be like, you know what, this is the first step. Maybe it's the first step in what we're going to see in the next 5 years. Where
that's kind of what I was thinking.
Different heads at Nintendo are going to start stepping down and letting younger, quote younger, I don't know how old Koshioda is, but quote unquote younger people step up into roles and kind of move Nintendo into the next generation. And that's always scary because this is all Nintendo's ever been is headed up by these people.
Yeah.
So like having kind of realizing in the next 5 years, all of them could be out of the company.
Right. That is kind of scary.
But again,
it could be something fantastic too.
Or it could, you know, my greatest worry for someone like Miyamoto, even EJ is that when you love your work, sometimes you do that work till you die. Mm-hmm. Even like when astrophysicists and scientists, like they retire, they still end up usually picking up a passion project that they keep researching and keep experimenting with until they die.
Right.
And what usually sucks is they usually never end up solving whatever they're trying to figure out before they die. And then the work is left to someone else that hopefully can pick up the pieces and figure it out because they were working by themselves and have to understand
Right.
Gets all crazy. That's kind of like the way Einstein was, like up until he died, like he just kept pushing.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just because what I've seen of him publicly, with Miyamoto specifically, feels like he's a really good family man.
Yeah.
And same with EJ Noe. He's constantly talking about his kids, constantly talking about his wife. I feel like it's one of those things where eventually, sometimes you just have to try to enjoy other parts of your life besides work. But I wonder if people like Miyamoto are just wired to be like, look, I love my family, I love my kids, but I am my work. Mm-hmm. That's who I am. I can't step away because...
Right. There are people out there like that, so it's...
And the thing, like, I don't want to tell them what to do, but I feel like Genyo Takada stepping down is kind of like might be making people at Nintendo think it's okay now. Mm-hmm. Like, the Switch was younger. It's getting popular. A lot of the ideas in Breath of the Wild were done by younger developers in the Zelda team. It's popular. Pokemon Go was made by Niantic, a younger development team.
Yep.
Popular. So it's kind of like maybe someone just needed to be the first one to take the step without literally dying.
Right.
Rest in peace to Satoru Iwata, but without literally dying, someone needed to take the first step and be like, look, it's okay to retire. Because the one thing that's different, I think, about Japan and United States business is in Japan, there's a high, super high loyalty to the place that you work. Mm-hmm. To the point that you're not going to leave that place if you still have something to offer, if you still feel like they absolutely need you. And you will work long hours, and there will be no complaints. Your family doesn't complain when you don't come home at night because they know you are doing what you need to do.
Right.
It's not like in America. Like here, I'm doing this podcast, we're recording late. I'm going to get complaints when I go upstairs. Oh, well, you're just doing it. Oh, you finally stopped. Like, yeah, well, it's my job. Mm-hmm. Got to do what I got to do. So in Japan, it's just, yep, welcome home.
Yep, right.
like it's just a totally different atmosphere there. They work themselves to the bone, hardcore. It's even different in like Europe too. Their work environment's a little different. They're a lot more relaxed. You get longer lunch breaks. If you come in late, you're not like crucified. As long as the goal is you just have like this is the work you need to get done today. As long as it gets done.
Yeah. Right.
You know, they don't really care if it took you 8 hours or if it took you 4.
Yeah.
As long as you got it done, that's what you're paid for. That's kind of like how salary jobs work in the United States too. Like, you know,
Right.
if you're on salary, you still might have expected hours to keep, but like in general, it's not about the amount of hours; it's about the amount of work you get done.
Right.
That's what.
That's what
there's also a curse to it too. There's also a curse to it too because you can end up pushing 80 hours a week, but you don't get paid overtime. That's not how salary works.
Actually, you do now.
Oh, they changed it now.
Yeah. Anything over 45 hours a week is now
Okay.
considered overtime for salary.
Sweet.
Yeah.
My dad must be making bank. my dad like works for tech companies as like a CTO, and he is on salary, and I can't imagine he puts in well over 60 hours a week. Anyways, so I guess we'll just kind of end it there. It just feels like General Takata retiring is the first step.
Yep. I would agree with that.
Man, it's gonna be rough. The day that Miyamoto retires, I might have some tears.
Yeah.
But tears of joy, I think, for what he's done. And as I said, I don't want to take it from General Takata. Like I'm not crying because again, I should because he is probably as big a part of my Nintendo fandom as like a Miyamoto is. It's just because of who he is, because of what he did. He's so behind the scenes. Like mad respect for what he's done and what he's meant to Nintendo. But I don't have that as big of an emotional connection.
Yeah.
But mad respect. I can't imagine how hard it is to do the job he's doing. And good luck to Koshioto. I hope you can live up to it. And, you know, you were part of really, really high and a really, really low console thing. So it's kind of, we'll see. Switch is going to be kind of like your first rodeo. So good luck. First rodeo without Takata, that is.